Suburban street, early morning. The camera glides slowly along a quiet neighborhood. Rows of neatly painted houses, trimmed lawns, flower beds carefully maintained. The faint hum of sprinklers. A sense of order that feels almost too strict. At the end of the street, James Turner, mid-30s, ordinary man with a kind but tired face, steps out of his small brick house. He stretches, coffee mug in hand, wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans. Behind a screen door, the sound of a dog barking, his golden retriever, Max. James bends to pick up the newspaper. As he turns, he notices an envelope taped firmly to his front door. He frowns. The envelope is plain white, stamped with 3 bold letters, HOA. James rips it off, opens it, and reads. His face drains. Insert, letter. Notice of violation. Your dog, Max, was observed in the front yard without supervision. Pursuant to HOA regulations, all pets must remain indoors or be accompanied on a leash at all times. A fine of $250 has been issued. Repeated violations may result in additional action. James lowers the letter, disbelief written across his face. James, to himself, $250 for letting my dog sit in the yard? He glances back toward the screen door. Max peers out, tail wagging, tongue lolling, completely unaware of the storm brewing. Kitchen, moments later. James paces with the letter in hand. His wife, Sarah, early 30s, practical and calm, pours herself coffee. Sarah, what's wrong? James, reading aloud. They fined us. $250. For Max. Sarah, confused. For what? He didn't bite anyone. James, for existing outside. That's literally it. Sarah takes the letter, schemes it, and sighs. Sarah, God, the HOA again. James, I swear, they're looking for reasons. Last month, it was the mailbox being faded. Now this. Sarah, we'll call them. Maybe it's a mistake. James laughs bitterly. James, with them? Mistakes don't happen. Max trots in, tail wagging as if sensing tension. James kneels, rubbing Max's ears. James, you're a criminal now, buddy. Congratulations. Sarah, don't joke. They take this stuff seriously. James, yeah, well, so do I. EXT, front yard, later that day. James kneels by the flower bed, trimming weeds. Across the street, MRS, Wilkins, late 60s, sharp eyes behind oversized sunglasses, watches him from her porch. She clutches a clipboard, pen poised. James notices. James, calling out. Morning, Mrs. Wilkins. Mrs. Wilkins, dryly. Good morning. Lovely day to follow the rules, don't you think? James stares at her, realization dawning. James, it was you. Mrs. Wilkins. We all agreed when we bought homes here. Pets mustn't roam unsupervised. James, Max was in our fenced yard. He wasn't roaming. Mrs. Wilkins, fence or no fence, rules are rules. She scribbles something on her clipboard. James exhales sharply, fighting to keep his cool. HOA office. Next day. James sits across from 3 board members in a sterile room. MRS. Wilkins smug. MR. Harper, mid-50s, president of the HOA, polished but cold. And Linda, secretary, nervous and quiet. Mr. Harper. Mr. Turner, thank you for coming. Let's address your violation. James. Address it? You fine me $250 for letting my dog sit in my own yard. Mrs. Wilkins. He was unattended. James. He was inside a fenced yard. Safe. Mr. Harper. The rule is clear. Pets must remain indoors unless accompanied. Fences don't substitute supervision. James. Do you hear yourselves? He's a golden retriever, not a wolf. Linda shifts, uneasy, but says nothing. Mrs. Wilkins. We enforce equally. It keeps the community peaceful. James. Peaceful or controlled? Mr. Harper. If you don't pay, further penalties apply. Eventually, leans against your property. James leans forward, fury flashing in his eyes. James. This is harassment. Mr. Harper. This is governance. You signed the agreement. James stands, slamming the letter on the table. James. Then Maybe it's time someone tore it apart. He storms out. EXT, driveway, evening. James slams his car door, throws the letter on the dashboard. He sits for a moment, breathing hard. Inside the house, Max barks, pressing his nose to the window. James stares at his dog, his anger softening into determination. Living room, night. James and Sarah sit together, papers spread out across the coffee table. Sarah, you want to fight them? James, I can't just roll over. If they can say Max can't be outside, what's next? Sarah, it'll cost time, money, stress. James takes Sarah's hand. James, he's family. I won't let them bully us. Max curls at James's feet, eyes shining with loyalty. James strokes his fur, whispering softly. James, we'll fight this. For you. The camera lingers on James's determined face as Max rests his head against his knee. Fade out. Suburban street, afternoon. Children ride bikes down the cul-de-sac, their laughter filling the air. Sprinklers hiss on freshly cut lawns. A delivery truck rumbles by, leaving behind an uneasy quiet. James pushes a lawnmower across his front yard. Sweat beads on his forehead. Every few moments he glances toward the window where Max, his golden retriever, sits watching with eager eyes, tail thumping against the glass. Two neighbors, a couple in their 40s, walk past. They whisper to each other, shooting James quick glances. Their voices are hushed, but the words carry. Neighbor 1, that's him, the guy with the dog. Neighbor 2, yeah, HOA had to find him. Can't just let animals run wild. James slows the mower, glaring. The neighbors avert their eyes and walk faster. He exhales sharply, gripping the mower handle tighter. Grocery store, later. James pushes a cart down the aisle, filling it with basics. As he reaches for a box of cereal, he hears voices behind him. Woman's voice. Her about the Turners? Their dogs causing trouble. Man's voice. Oh, I know. My cousin's on the board. Said the HOA might push for stricter rules if he doesn't comply. James freezes, cereal box in hand. He slowly turns. At the end of the aisle, two residents from his neighborhood, mid-30s, gossip over produce. When they notice James staring, they fall silent, awkwardly pretending to check their phones. James sets the cereal box down hard in his cart and walks away. EXT, front porch, evening. Sarah waters the flowers in pots lining the porch. Across the street, MRS. Wilkins stands with another HOA member, whispering while pointing subtly toward the Turner's house. James comes outside, folding his arms. James, you know they're talking about us, right? Sarah, quietly, let them talk. James, this is how they control people. Make you the villain so everyone else is afraid to speak up. Sarah sets down the watering can, meeting his gaze. Sarah, then maybe we stop being quiet. EXT, playground, next day. James sits on a bench while Emma and Ben play on the swings. Max sits at his side on a leash, panting happily. Parents cluster together nearby, their conversations stopping when James walks past. A few smiles are polite but cold. One man, Chris, early 40s, breaks from the group and approaches. Chris. Hey, James. James. Chris. Chris. Look, man, I heard about what happened. Sorry you're dealing with that. James. Finally, someone who doesn't think Max is public enemy number 1. Chris. Leans in. Between you and me, half the neighborhood thinks the HOA has gone too far. But no one wants to get on their bad side. James. That's how bullies work. Chris glances back at the group of parents. Chris, just be careful. They'll make your life hell if you push too hard. James nods, gripping Max's leash tighter. Turner house night. The family eats dinner quietly. The kids sense the tension. Ben, Dad, is Max in trouble? James, no, buddy. Max didn't do anything wrong. Emma, then why are people saying things at school? Sarah looks at James, concerned. He forces a smile for the kids. James, because sometimes people believe lies. But we know the truth, right? The kids nod, reassured. Max barks softly under the table, as if agreeing. EXT, sidewalk, morning. James jogs with Max on a leash. A jogger passes, frowning. Another neighbor shakes their head disapprovingly. James mutters under his breath. James! Like we're criminals for walking a dog. Suddenly, a woman across the street yells. Woman! Hey! Keep that mud away from my yard. James stops, stunned. James! Excuse me? Woman. HOA says dogs aren't supposed to be loose. James! He's on a leash. The woman slams her door without another word. James stares, furious, then keeps jogging. Coffee shop day. James sits with Sarah, laptop open. They scroll through the HOA bylaws. Sarah, listen to this. Any animal found outside unattended constitutes a violation. But it doesn't say anything about being in a fenced yard. James. Exactly. They're twisting it. Sarah, we need proof. Documentation. If we fight this, we can't just be angry. We need evidence. James nods slowly. James. Then we start gathering it. They exchange a determined look. EXT, Turner House, night. The street is quiet under dim streetlights. A camera lens peers from the corner of the Turner porch, James installing a small security camera. He adjusts the angle to capture the front yard. Max barks softly beside him. James, good boy. We'll show them the truth. He pats Max's head, tightening the last screw. Bedroom, late night. James lies awake, staring at the ceiling. Sarah turns toward him. Sarah, you can't let this consume you. James, they made it personal. It's not just about Max, it's about control. Sarah, then promise me one thing. James, what? Sarah, whatever happens, we don't let them take away our peace. James turns, looking at her. He nods softly, but his eyes burn with quiet resolve. Turner House, morning. The sun rises over the neighborhood. The Turner mailbox clangs shut as the mailman walks away. James steps outside, robe tied loosely, coffee in one hand. Max trots happily beside him on a leash. James pulls a thick envelope from the mailbox. His face tightens when he sees the HOA seal again. He tears it open right there on the driveway. Insert, letter, final notice. Failure to pay the $250 fine within 7 days will result in escalating penalties and potential legal action. HOA reserves the right to restrict animal access within the community if non-compliance continues. James's jaw drops. His hands shake with anger. James, restrict access? They're threatening to take my dog's rights away. Max barks as if sensing his frustration. James crumples the letter in his fist. Kitchen, moments later. Sarah reads the letter, brow furrowed. Sarah, they reserve the right to restrict animal access. Can they even do that? James, they'll try. And if they win, Max will never set foot outside again. Sarah sets the letter down. Sarah, so what do we do? James's expression hardens. James, we confront them. No more letters, no more whispers. Face to face. EXT, HOA office, afternoon. The sterile HOA office sits between a dentist's office and a bank. James parks his car, Max's leash in his hand as he leans over to scratch behind his dog's ears. James, wish me luck, buddy. He gets out, leaving Max in the car with the windows down and water. HOA office, lobby continuous. James marches in. The receptionist, mid-20s, barely looks up. Receptionist, can I help you? James, I'm here to see the board. Receptionist, do you have an appointment? James, no, but they'll want to hear me. She hesitates at his tone, then disappears into the back. HOA conference room, minutes later. James enters. The same trio sits at the long table. Amar, Harper, polished and smug. MRS, Wilkins, stern. Linda, nervous. Mr. Harper, Mr. Turner. To what do we owe this surprise? James, I'm here to talk about your latest letter. He tosses the crumpled notice on the table. James, Siwantid, threatening to restrict my dog's access. That's not governance. That's cruelty. Mrs. Wilkins, Mr. Turner, you've repeatedly violated the rules. James, repeatedly? One incident. One, he was in my fenced yard. Mr. Harper, unattended, nonetheless. James, leaning forward. You're twisting words to fit your agenda. Linda fidgets, clearly uncomfortable. James notices. James to Linda. You know this isn't right, don't you? Linda opens her mouth, but Harper cuts her off. Mr. Harper, this isn't a debate. Pay the fine or face consequences. James slams his hands on the table, voice rising. James, I will not pay for something that isn't wrong. And I'll make sure the whole neighborhood knows it. Mrs. Wilkins glares. Mrs. Wilkins, threats won't help you. James, it's not a threat. It's a promise. He storms out, the door banging shut behind him. EXT. Parking lot, continuous. James strides toward his car. Max barks excitedly from the back seat. James opens the door, sits in the driver's seat, gripping the wheel with white knuckles. James, they're not going to win. Not this time. EXT. Neighborhood, evening. James walks Max on a leash around the block. Neighbors watch from porches, some whispering, some openly glaring. The tension is palpable. Suddenly, a voice calls out. Voice. Hey, Turner. Heard you're fighting the HOA. James turns. It's Chris, the neighbor who'd been sympathetic before. Chris, be careful. They'll double down now. James, then let them. They've pushed me too far. Int. Turner house, night. James sets up his laptop on the dining table. Sarah joins him with a stack of documents. Sarah, I printed out the bylaws. Look at this section. It says pets must be properly supervised, but it never defines supervision. James, exactly. A fenced yard is supervision. We'll use their own words against them. Sarah, and if they ignore it? James looks up, fire in his eyes. James, then we take them to court. Max lies at their feet, tail wagging. James reaches down, stroking his fur. James, this fight's just getting started. Fade out. Turner house. Early morning. A heavy thud, thud, thud rattles the front door. James bolts upright from the couch, Max barking furiously. He grabs the door handle and yanks it open. On the porch, a bright orange notice taped across the glass. Insert notice. Violation escalated. Due to repeated noncompliance, the HOA hereby restricts outdoor animal privileges effective immediately. Any sightings of said animal outdoors may result in daily fines of $100 and potential removal proceedings. James stares at it, stunned. James, to himself, removal. They're threatening to take my dog away. Max barks, pulling at the leash in James's hand. James crumples the notice, veins popping in his neck. Int. Kitchen, moments later. Sarah reads the notice, voice trembling. Sarah, they can't do this. They can't. James paces, fists clenched. James, they think they can scare us. But they just made it war. EXT. Neighborhood. Later that day. James walks Max on a leash, defiant. The air feels hostile. Neighbors glare, some crossing the street to avoid him. A woman whispers to her husband, loud enough for James to hear. Woman, that's the one causing all the trouble. James ignores her, but his grip on Max's leash tightens. From across the street, a board member's CR slows, snapping photos of James with Max. James glares back, raising his phone to film them. James, two can play that game. Int. Community mailbox station, afternoon. James unlocks his mailbox. More letters. More threats. He flips through, disgusted. Chris appears, pulling mail from his own box. Chris, they're really coming after you, huh? James, they posted a notice. They said they'll find me every day Max is outside. Chris, that's insane. You should talk to a lawyer. James, that's the plan. Chris hesitates, then lowers his voice. Chris, careful who you trust around here. Not everyone's on your side. James nods grimly. Int. Living room, night. James and Sarah sit at the laptop, scrolling through HOA horror stories online. Sarah, look at this one. Family fined thousands for planting the wrong color flowers. James, they thrive on intimidation. They don't expect anyone to fight back. He closes the laptop firmly. James, well, they picked the wrong guy this time. Max barks once as if agreeing. Law office day. Stacks of files, legal books, quiet ticking clock. Across the desk sits attorney Carter, mid-40s, sharp-eyed. James explains, spreading the HOA letters out. James, they want to find me daily. They're even threatening to remove my dog. Carter leans back, scanning the papers. Carter, this language is vague. Restrict animal access? That won't hold in court. They're bluffing, but dangerously so. James, can we stop them? Carter, we can fight. You'll need documentation. Every notice, every interaction, photos of your yard, proof Max is supervised. James nods, relief and determination mixing. James, I got all of that. EXT, neighborhood, evening. James stands outside with Max, this time holding a small camera in his other hand. He films as Max sniffs the grass inside the fenced yard. James VO, supervised, fenced, safe, every second documented. Across the street, Mrs. Wilkins glares from her window. James keeps filming, defiant. Int. HOA conference room, days later. James sits across from Harper, Wilkins, and Linda again, this time with attorney Carter beside him. Mr. Harper, Mr. Turner, you continue to flaunt the rules. Carter, leaning forward. Actually, Mr. Harper, what rules? Proper supervision is undefined. My client has video proof his dog is contained and monitored. Harper shifts uncomfortably. Wilkins scoffs. Mrs. Wilkins, this isn't about supervision. It's about respect for the board. Carter, then perhaps the board needs to respect the law. Linda lowers her eyes, hiding a faint smile. James, quiet but firm. You won't bully me. Not anymore. EXT, Turner House Day. A small group of neighbors gathers outside, some holding signs, let dogs be dogs and stop the HOA. James looks out from the porch, stunned. Chris waves from the crowd. Chris, you're not alone, James. The support spreads. Cars honk as they drive past. The tide is turning. Int. Living room, night. James kneels, hugging Max tightly. Sarah smiles, watching them. Sarah, no matter what happens next, we're stronger than them. James nods, whispering into Max's fur. James, we're gonna win this, boy. For you. Max licks his face, tail wagging furiously.